All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Hope everybody's doing okay. Hi, Dana. How are you?
Uh, Ambivalent, let's say.
Ambivalent.
Yeah. So today is the first teacher day of summer.
Yes.
Yesterday we had a no students day just to get everything finished up. And today is an optional, I guess, maybe even the rest of the week is an optional. If you need to get finished up, finish up.
Right.
But I
You don't
got
need it.
finished up.
You're
I don't need
finished.
it. I'm finished. Um, but I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm wearing different earbuds because I can't find mine. And that's something that like really bothers me. Like I need to put this particular, I have a 9-round pass and it's not exactly where I left it. And so I lose track of things easily. And it's something that I'm just hyper aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just not here and they're not in the bag where in the pocket of the bag where they usually go. And I'm pretty sure I had them for my run yesterday morning because I got up extra early, made myself go on a run, and I remember that I remember listening to music on the run because I would remember if I was just like
If you didn't have music, yeah.
especially for an early morning run.
Yeah.
But I do remember yesterday that I didn't have them when I went to play practice. So I don't know what I did with them when I came back from the run. And that it shouldn't be a big deal. My husband found a spare pair. And also I have a spare pair. This is the pair that I wore when I was training for the half marathon because they're cordless. But then they didn't stay in my ears really well. Yeah. But the little charge plug is not like a standard other end of the USB one. It's not the most common one. And of course, it's not the Apple one. So I didn't have them. So they haven't had a charge because I haven't used it for months because I haven't been training for a half marathon. So it's just, it bothers me more perhaps than it reasonably should. But it really, it's frustrating in a way that I can't effectively describe. I'm really upset about it. And really frustrated. So that's making it difficult to enjoy my summer. Yeah. How's your day been?
My day is, well, I mean, my day's been fine. So, but I shot a video, which you will be contributing to.
Yes, I'm so excited. It's the first not just us talking video that I will get to be part of.
Yes. But yeah, I shot that today and I was working on that really right up until about, I don't know, half an hour ago, just doing stuff because there's a lot of audio stuff to do with it.
Right, you talked about.
Yeah, video wise, it's pretty simple, but the audio, it's sort of, there's a lot going on. So I've got a lot of that. I've got a lot of it done. You know what I mean?
I'm really excited about this one. I haven't talked to you since I will be playing 2 characters.
That's right.
Like bit parts, everybody, bit parts. I got to start small. I don't have the cachet that some of your other performers do.
You realize you could write a script and just send it to me and say you're making this video and I'm playing this part and here's how we're doing it. I mean, you realize you have that power, right? I mean, as long as it was technically within my ability to do, I'd be like, yeah, sure, let's do it. You can play whatever part you wanted.
Yeah, Corey, it's kind of like that, but it's more that, and Loretta, I appreciate that. I don't even need to purchase another pair, but it's just, I feel it makes me feel like I'm irresponsible. Like, and it's, oh gosh, as a teacher.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've developed processes and procedures. I have to be very diligent because students will snap on you on a dime. You lost my work. Now I have not had that accusation. And of course, now that everything's online, it makes it a lot easier to keep track of stuff. But knowing figuring out which sorts of mistakes they will make, how to track timestamps, the fact that Google Docs not only timestamps when they turned it in, it tracks changes that they made. So they can say, well, I worked on it for, a week. They obviously don't know that Google timestamps their changes. So, it's really, it's something that I should probably talk to my therapist about.
Well, I mean,
because I realize that it's illogical. They're $20 and I've had them for years. I've gotten my $20 of use out of them.
It's illogical, but at the same time, I mean, I like, well, the microphone that you use is a blue snowball that I gave you, right? It took me 3 or 4 days to find it, right? I knew it was here. I knew I had packed it and brought it with me when I moved. I knew it was generally somewhere. I must have looked in the same 4 or 5 places. I don't even know how many times before I finally found it. And that was incredibly frustrating because it's like, I know it's here. It hasn't even been packed up that long, I could not find it.
That's what makes it more frustrating. It's like the less time it's been, the more frustrating it is. I'm like,
yeah,
I literally used that between yesterday morning and yesterday afternoon, like gone.
Yeah,
that makes it for me. That makes it worse.
Sure.
255 AD. I've done that sometimes. It's a lot easier to, or there's some teachers, and sometimes I've gone in on the weekend. It's just when the building is quiet, it's just such a different vibe. It's something that I find very enjoyable, especially having grown up with parents who are teachers. I remember, the high schools tend to let out later than elementary schools. And so I remember staying on the bus whenever my mom was substitute teaching. I would stay on the bus to the high school, and I would, hang out in my dad's classroom until he was ready to walk home because we lived close to the high school. 255 AD. So it's a very familiar vibe to me. That's sort of the empty school. It's not, sort of like scary or anything. Yeah. 255 AD. Our school does not have a metal detector. Sarah, I was looking for Sarah Scott.
Oh, Sarah has a big super
Sarah
secret
has
day
a big
tomorrow.
Super secret. Oh,
funding for a big important thing. So
good luck. Sarah, well, you'll have to tell us all about it on Friday because we have a lot. If you can, I mean, if you're not busy with the super secret event,
whenever the secret is, whenever it's okay to let the secret out. Of course, we would all love to hear about it.
But that's okay. It's okay. Breathe. Be patient. Be patient. Don't get yourself in trouble and lose your super secret opportunity.
Indeed.
So.
Loose lips sink ships.
Yeah, and or something along those lines. So,
that's just a saying I've heard.
I've heard it said too.
I have no idea what it means. So,
I know, but I don't care to get into that. I'm still.
I know what it means. I know what it means.
Quasi apologize in advance. I'm sure you know that. When I bitch you out, I mean what I say, but I mean it in a very caring way.
You're not malicious.
I'm not. I'm really not.
No, unless it's deserved. Of course, then it's not malicious, is it? Then you're just lighting somebody up who has it coming.
By malice, malice, I think means wishing harm on someone. And there are some people that I wish harm on, even though it goes against my principles of, all people deserve, food, housing, etc., etc. There are a few.
There are exceptions.
A very, very few that I'm like, no, I would be, I just want this person to suffer.
Yeah, it's like I would chop them up with an axe if I thought I could get away with it.
You're mixing. No. That would not make me feel any safer. I don't.
Hey.
I don't feel particularly unsafe, but my feelings of safety are probably not ones that anybody should trust or should take as like any sort of baseline.
Also, and I feel like I need to point this out anytime this comes up, introducing a gun into a situation without a gun inherently makes the situation less safe.
Yeah, I really
that is a fact. So if there are no
Like
guns around and then there's suddenly a gun around, it is suddenly empirically, objectively less safe than it was before the gun was there.
yes.
Um,
So
so yeah.
and I'm I am not certain that I don't know if I have if we are a no weapon area. Like we have a single school resource officer.
Mm-hmm.
One.
Right.
I did not know this, but my the school where my brother has been teaching, yeah, Sarah Scott, I'm right with you. They apparently have like literally they have their own police department for the school, and I'm just like, okay. So I haven't really, we didn't really get a chance to talk about that, but yeah. So yeah, it wouldn't really make me feel any safer, but I'm just the sort of person who doesn't feel unsafe ever.
Right. And well,
So,
and you've talked about
yeah.
that before too, about,
Yeah, I don't, the whole, it'll come up on my Facebook feed, or Twitter or whatever, all women have carried their keys in their hand. All women have, taken a longer route so that it could be well lit. And I'm like, I am not going to say anything. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and not pull a hashtag not all women.
Exactly. You're not going to contradict it. That doesn't accomplish anything, but yeah. 255 AD says, what if someone comes up to you and says, I'll set off a bomb unless you give me a gun? What then, Steve? What then? Do I really want to give a gun to a guy who just threatened to set off a bomb? That doesn't seem safe.
Also, I'd be like, I can't help you because I ain't got one. Sorry, dude.
I'm not giving a gun to someone who just threatened to blow up a bomb. I don't have a gun. If you do blow up a bomb, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
Like just because you
exactly. The whole,
it's not my responsibility. Like you built the bomb.
Yeah,
you
I'm
built the
totally
bomb.
Not going to feel bad. I'm going to feel bad in the general sense because there are people who suffered.
Yes, of course.
But I'm not going to feel guilty.
I'm not going to feel responsible. Yeah, no, it's not my fault. Because some nutcase built a bomb and said, "I'm going to blow it up if somebody doesn't give me a gun."
Steve, that's ableist language.
Because some asshole.
Jerk. Use jerk. You're an asshole. They're a jerk.
Because
a jerk is bad. Asshole is just about
Because
demeanor.
some piece of shit.
There you go. Let's take that.
Anyway, so shall we begin to
watch the show?
Mosey on over toward watching this episode. So for anybody who doesn't know, and it's in the title and it's also in my pinned comment in the live chat, we are watching Deep Space Nine this week. We're watching If Wishes Were Horses from season 1.
Which ties in nicely, well, very tangentially with, last week's Firefly. If wishes were horses, we'd all be eating steak.
Hey, that's right. Wow, it all comes together. So yes, this is a fun episode. I don't know if it's necessarily one of the best episodes of the show, but it's a fun episode. So hopefully you enjoy it, Dana, and hopefully everybody who watches along with us enjoys it too. And because it's Deep Space Nine, and we're both watching the same thing, we'll start at 0 and go from there. So we don't have to queue up at different times because we're watching different versions.
Wait. We have to hang on.
Oh, Sarah's Netflix crashed. Uh-oh.
Okay.
So we'll wait. We'll give it a minute.
We
and by the way,
hang out and talk. That is not a problem.
Yeah, not a problem. We can fill the time. And Dana, is yours ready to go? Because I know sometimes if you let it sit too long, it does that thing where it's
it says it's ready to go.
Okay.
I'm at. Well, I don't know where I'm at. Oh no, it's still jumped. Okay, now it says I'm at 0. Okay. I'm at 0. Am I at 0? Am I? Oh, it's okay. It keeps going. So we did the sound check and it was Quark and mostly Quark's conversation with Odo and Odo just suffering through it. And, it kept like I would rewind it back to 0 and I'm like we'd hit play and it'd be like blah blah blah. Shut up, Quark.
255 AD has a good question. How long does it take DS9 to realize it's not TOS and stop doing these zany episodes? I think I would say by the time we get into season 2, it has started to settle into its own personality. Season 2 begins with a 3-part episode,
Oh my.
which no Star Trek show had ever done before. And it was not, and it was a 3-part episode that was very sort of centered on like Bajaran politics. So I feel like at that point they're sort of saying, okay, this is the show. We know who we are. This is how we want to do this. So I would say, but there are even like TNG. There are episodes of TNG that I feel like could have been classic Trek episodes, and this is an episode of Deep Space Nine that I feel like could easily have been a TNG episode. So I'll be curious to see what everybody thinks about it when we're done. And Sarah is ready to go. So if everybody else is ready.
Real quick, Snakebit Cat says schools can't afford to buy teachers paper. How are they supposed to buy them guns? I've never had a problem getting paper. Also, paper and pens and pencils are like the things that we are allowed to require that students provide. Anything else, if we need it, has to be provided by the school or, by the teacher, but we can't require the students to have more than that. So part of the thing of if there are schools that are saying, we're not going to buy paper for you, usually they mean, students should bring their own paper, but I don't know. And also it depends on which school too. I have not had a problem with that. I will say that much. So I'm ready to go.
All right, everybody get ready. And I will count us in from 3 as usual. And we will start watching this episode of Deep Space Nine.
Azalea Jane, that's not science, it's math. Come on. Jeez.
But isn't science reducible to math?
Everything is reducible to math.
Yeah, so there you go.
Biology is really chemistry. Chemistry is really physics. Physics is really math. Therefore, everything is math.
Therefore, the universe is math. And that's why it sucks.
You're mixed on only if those bullets were made out of pens, pencils, or paper.
All right.
So let's go.
Let's do this. Count us in? I'm going to count us in. Here we go. Everybody get ready. And in 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh, hey, look. Beauty shot. Who's surprised?
Didn't see that coming, did you?
Actually, I did because,
you watched it.
Yeah, sound check,
we sound checked it. Yeah.
I already saw this part.
Binarium hawk because it's space.
I've already found my prey. Money, money, money.
You tell him, Odo. Don't be gross. Oh, Jake's going to play baseball.
Gasp.
A baseball mitten.
His enunciation is quite good. So, Scott, I will point out that there's a difference between math and maths.
By the way, that was just what Quark just said. There was an example of the sci-fi rule of 3, where you name 2 real people and then a made-up space person. So he names Tris Speaker and Ted Williams, who are real baseball players, and then Buck Bokai, who is the most famous made-up Star Trek baseball player.
Really?
Indeed.
So who are the other made-up Star Trek baseball players that aren't as famous? Because I'm sure you know them. Nerd.
Actually, they're probably. I don't think they're. I can't think of any.
So then by default,
by process of elimination, Buck Bokai is the most famous.
Because you know of this one. He's the most famous.
Well, he must be. You telling me there's a more famous Star Trek baseball player and I've never heard of him?
Star Trek and baseball?
Yeah,
that's your thing.
That's right. That's the where my Venn diagram crosses over. Come on.
Oh. And we end on that. That nice last line for that scene. That was great.
Look, Jadzia, I'm a horn dog. I can't help it. M. Loudon is Willie Mays real? Oh, yes, you better
Sarah,
believe
that's
it.
only for people who speak English, not for people who speak real English.
The Queen's English.
Hey, I'm my own queen. Only metaphorically, alas.
Would you be into that? Because believe me.
Ha ha
ha. So what we're saying is his shoulders aren't the only thing that's blue.
I thought they were teal.
I'm just, I'm reaching, and you never let me reach.
I know.
You never let me reach.
I let you reach, and then I point out.
And then you slap my hand back and go, no, not good enough.
I watch you reaching, say, yeah, you're not going to get that. Not good enough.
What you reaching for? No, I'll just move it over here further away.
No, it's not further away. You just weren't reaching.
I didn't reach it.
You did not enough of a stretch there. You stretched and stretched, and you still didn't stretch far enough.
Damn.
I don't know. I think 250 already. I think more than 3% of the UK population says maths.
It's got a really mean Rumpelstiltskin there, I gotta say.
Oh, he does the voices. This is not good as a bedtime story. You don't tickle with a bedtime story. You're trying to get the kid to sleep.
Oh.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
Until they all died natural deaths, because that is reality. Good night, sweetheart.
So, see, she's not asleep. She's not sleepy. And I'm so glad that they went with Rumpelstiltskin instead of the leprechaun because Harry said Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, it's adorable.
It really is. That's
Rumpelstiltskin. Oh my God, it's the dancing man from Twin Peaks. It is.
very, very cute.
He's not talking backwards, though, so I think they're safe. Yeah, isn't little Molly adorable? I think Molly, at this age, I think Molly is the cutest Star Trek baby. I think Molly and Jake are the only Star Trek kids that I love unconditionally. The others have to prove themselves. Yes, Norman, he's speaking at regular speed, exactly. And he's not in the Black Lodge.
They could have made a different deal. I'm just saying.
And now we just take a moment, relax,
Blah, blah, blah. I'm
come
trying to
back,
relax. It's not really working.
come back to center, and enjoy the most calming theme song in all of Star Trek.
And that's saying something, because they're all pretty boring. I mean,
I don't know. The classic Trek and TNG have some pep to them. You know, I'd say they're both pretty up tempo.
you must suffer. CLO66, I mean, I often find kids cute. The problem is you're not supposed to laugh at them. You know, it's, you know, like actually laugh at them. You're supposed to be like, oh, they're cute, not you dumbass.
Yeah.
And they're, you know, they're doing stupid stuff. And like, you know, it's understandable. It's okay that they're doing stupid stuff. You don't mean that they're like a bad person, but it's funny because they're doing stupid stuff. But no, that's rude.
Okay, honey, we're moving. We're getting new quarters. It's some Star Trek shit happening. Just get out of here.
Oh God, he's gonna kill me.
There's a weird jerk here going through my stuff. Where's your underwear?
Well, that was rude. I wondered exactly what they were going to do with like the ending of the story.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, he's telling it to his kid, so he's probably not going to have him rip himself in half.
So he broke into.
Yeah.
Oh, Chief, can it wait? I am so drunk.
David Gordon, that's awesome.
There he is. Whew, that's a lot of writers.
Chris Kringle, what, being annoying? Junction.
I love that Julian is smart enough to know that there must be something very wrong here. Like,
he's not that stupid.
You're right. He's like, wait a minute, she's really into me. What is going on?
And then, okay.
Hey.
I'm not sure actually, but we'll just say that
We'll just
because
go
I'm
with it.
polite without having any meaning to it. 'Oh, good.
Three,
Now I get two of them.
3, 2, 1, pause. We'll
Are you
pause
on
on
the
the.
beauty shot?
I'm on the beauty shot, baby. I am at
Woohoo!
32:16 remaining, so we will pick up there. Yeah. So, like I say, I mean, the setup could easily have been a Star Trek Next Generation episode, and actually, I mean, it could have been a Classic Trek episode too. I could kind of see
Yeah.
them doing in classic because they did a lot of goofy stuff in Classic Trek.
Yeah, that somebody said, we talked about that. How long does it, or you talked about that? How long does it take for DS9 to find its feet and stop being so zany?
Yeah, yeah, because that is, I mean, Classic Trek is the zaniest. TNG is markedly less zany once it figures out its voice, but it still has some zany moments. Deep Space Nine really gets away from the zaniness after the first season, and it's not super zany to begin with, but so
Every now and then.
it feels like the progression of Star Trek through the years has been to slowly just reduce the level of zaniness with each successive generation.
Okay, 255 AD, you asked that before, and I said, I don't think they're pseudopodophile. First of all,
I think it's supposed to be pedophiles, yeah.
I think so too, but pseudopod
A pseudopodophile
would be really amusing.
Sounds like a really problematic Dr. Seuss character.
There's no indication of anything sexual about any of it.
Well, don't you think part of it, there are a lot of fairy tales that revolve around children being put in jeopardy, and don't you think that's because the stories were told to children, and it was like,
it's like it's about you guys, and exciting and scary. And then the other, the what I was thinking about as far as children being stolen from parents, especially in the cases of in return for having a wish granted, give me your firstborn child, is what's the most horrible thing you could do to somebody? Well, there you go. Take what matters most. What should matter most to somebody? Their kids should matter most.
Right.
So it's also a story that reinforces the value of children. So David C. Drake, super tasty.
Yeah, and Azalea Jane asks, how zany do I think Voyager is? It has some zany episodes, like I think the Captain Proton episodes, especially the one where like Janeway has to become like the villain in the Captain Proton program. It has some zany moments here and there, but tonally, I don't think it's super zany. Tonally, Voyager's not that different from Deep Space Nine. It's just that it's a lot more boring and pointless. But in terms of like the sort of the overall seriousness of the show, it's not that far off.
255 AD asks what I think of Julian deciding to continue making out with Dax when he suspects she's not in her right mind. Well, he found nothing wrong with her. But at the same time, it's pretty clear, something's not right here, but I can't figure out what it is, so I'm just going to go with it.
Right, exactly.
But that's it's about what I'd expect from him at this point. He's a skeeve. So.
It's more than you would expect from him, because like he did take that minute to be like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. She must be sick or something.
She's at least not sick. I'm not sick. Well, something's wrong, but I don't know what it is, so I'm just going to go with it.
Here we go.
Until we're stopped by the narrative.
Philip Kehoe, Voyager does have an episode with Michael McKean as a scary clown, and that sounds super zany, but actually that episode isn't that zany. That's the Thaw. That's my favorite Voyager episode. I mean, it's kind of a scary episode. But yeah.
Yeah, Kris Kringle, but I mean, he doesn't want to be
Right,
Dax.
right.
I want to, but I want you to want me to.
Yeah. Yeah, Caitlin, I guess the thaw is, I guess it's an underrated Voyager episode, but I mean I remember it being really well reviewed at the time when it originally aired, and I think it's been pretty well regarded ever since it first aired. But I guess you're right that it's not usually like when people talk about Voyager episodes and they single out particular episodes, they usually talk about like the big event episodes, which I have never been that big of a fan of. Like I just don't think that most of those are very good, but they're the ones that are more memorable, like Year of Hell or Future's End, or some of the first sort of Borg episodes where they have like the big two-parter Borg episodes. And I mean, most of those just don't really. I mean, I'm not a Voyager fan generally speaking, anyway, but those aren't what I would consider the high points of the series. But something like The Thaw is a really good episode. And Alden Zenko says, "Dang, now I have that unrelated Cheap Trick song stuck in my head forever." There you go, Dana. You've done some good tonight.
Oh, I feel so special. 255 AD, yeah, no. He just seemed desperate at that point, which, desperate and pathetic and sad, par for the course for Julian.
Julian, for first season, Julian is really...
because, desperate and pathetic and sad. We hadn't gotten to Skeevy yet. Ding!
Yeah, first season Julian is... Although, I mean... Like, I feel like maybe this episode, at least Julian's part in this episode, is the start of the writers sort of realizing that they have a problem with him and trying to turn him around a bit. Because it's like...
Rein him in, you mean?
Well, because in this episode, I mean, it's being played... First of all, it's being openly acknowledged that his crush / creepy factor relations to Jadzia are not cool, and and it's played for laughs in this episode, but it's acknowledging like, yeah, he needs to kind of back off, this isn't cool. So that's, and and in season 2 he starts
being less of a creep.
Eventually he's one of the best characters on the show, I think, but in season 1 he definitely needs to do some some growing for sure.
Or, a slap or two across the face.
Or that too.
Just a punch, just right in the cheekbone.
Yeah, I mean, Jadzia,
the skin a bit.
And, Jadzia can throw a punch. She's just the person to do it. She's just the person to do it. I mean, Cisco could beat the crap out of him too, but I mean,
Well,
why should Cisco have all the fun?
Let's go the other direction. Who couldn't?
Good point. I mean, if Jake learned from his dad, Jake could probably take him.
Yeah,
he's got the moves. Maybe Quark. Quark isn't much of a fighter.
Quark isn't much of a fighter. It would depend how much money was involved.
If there was latinum between Julian and Quark, involved,
Julian would be a goner.
Quark is like, get out of my way, Doctor. I'm getting that money.
Now, Nog, on the other hand.
Well, that's true.
Nog's a bit of a softie.
Nog, yeah. At this point, I think eventually Nog would be able to beat the crap out of Bashir, but in first season Nog, yeah. Well, of course, first season Nog is like a kid too. I mean,
exactly. That's part of what makes it funny.
Yeah, it's just picture Dr. Bashir just knocking the shit out of Nog. Like, dude, he's a kid. What are you doing?
He's the only one I can take. Okay,
I'm making myself feel good about myself. Okay, leave me alone.
Oh my god.
So shall we get back into it?
Yes.
Okay. So, and once again, for people who need a reminder, we're paused at 32:16 remaining, and we will get back into this. And I'll count us in from 3. Are you ready?
Almost, Corey.
Okay.
It wouldn't be difficult for Bashir to be harder to beat up than I think, because, like, my opinion of Bashir is like, it's not here. It's like here. It's like below the screen. All right. Okay. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. I'll count us in, and getting back to the episode in 3, 2, 1, play.
Your Mixon says he can beat Molly.
Yeah,
I don't know. She's fast.
She is.
I don't know if she could beat him up, but I don't know if he could catch her. Oh gosh, that's what I want to see. I want to see Bashir trying to take care of Molly, and she's just in a pissy mood and won't be good.
Chief, I locked her in her room. There's nothing in there she can hurt herself with. I'm going home.
Shut up.
Shut up. Sure.
But I like you.
Well, don't go away mad.
Fuck if I know.
255 AD, apparently, yeah. Yeah, red alert.
Let's go there.
It's always some kind of subspace disruption. It's Star Trek.
We are subspace disruption.
He slaps his fingers.
I think it likes me.
He's trying to usher it like a drunk. Come along now. Come along. Don't make any trouble. Pierre, exactly. They have to reverse the polarity. Why hasn't anybody tried that yet?
Everybody agrees. It's an emu. Boys and girls.
That's such a great Odo moment. Refrain from using your imaginations. The table's rigged. How is this possible?
Oh, the girl in the back, she's pouting because Quark isn't paying attention to her.
I care more about money than you. Get away from me.
Yep.
Awkward.
Yeah, 255 AD, it's really interesting that Dax showed up in uniform.
Yeah. You know, network standards and practices.
Also, you know, Bashir's fantasy.
What? I think she looks good in her uniform. Why is that so unusual?
And just keep your mouth shut. Should remain private.
Sure. She's taking on a mind of her own. I'm not thinking this, I swear. Oh, everybody remembers that Honoli system subspace rupture. Or maybe not.
Nah.
3, 2, 1, pause. So I'm paused at 24:25 remaining. So, yeah. I told you it was a subspace rupture. Actually, they figured that out already. I actually think that scene that we just finished before like imaginary Dax shows back up when it's just Jadzia and the real Jadzia and Bashir. That's one of my favorite scenes from the first season because I love the timing of Jadzia's pause before she turns back around and goes, she really is submissive, isn't she? It's so perfect. Like because Julian thinks he's out of the woods. He's like, oh, you're being so understanding. Thank God. And then he's like getting back to work. And then she's like, oh, but wait a minute. Like,
You thought you were out, and then they shut you back in.
Dr. Ness, I mean, I guess, but I mean, by this point, I would imagine Star Trek production crews were pretty well practiced at doing scenes where the actors were playing multiple characters. I mean, and as long
in the
as
same scene,
and as long as you have the technical resources, I mean, and I don't mean to belittle their talent or the amount of work involved, but it's not that difficult, I mean. And there's the 180-degree rule. So when they're cutting like between shots and it's real Jadzia and imaginary Jadzia, they're facing different directions. They're on opposite sides of the room. So I mean, it's pretty clear
so
like
you
who is
can
who.
see who they're talking to.
Yeah,
and the subtitles will say Dax and Dax 2. So
that's
that
right.
helps as well.
Dax
Sarah
2.
Scott.
Good luck, Sarah.
Thank you so much for joining us, and let us know on Friday. Please tell us everything.
Yes. Yeah, and Caitlin points out, yes, that is the DP's job. The director says, I want you to do this. It's the director of photography and other crew members that have to figure out, well, how do we actually do this? Yeah, exploring fate. Yeah, they have stand-ins. I mean, they're, yeah, it's like I say, it's not. It's, I mean, obviously, it's more complicated than just doing a regular shot with, you know, without that effect. But it's not like, you know, it can't be that much of a headache at this point for a Star Trek crew that have had to do that before. I mean, Christ, I think at this point in TNG they had already done a couple of episodes where Brent Spiner played multiple
Mm-hmm.
characters, and you know, and I'm sure like some of those, like Brothers, I think was before this, and Brothers is a TNG episode where Brent Spiner plays three different characters. And there are scenes, most of that episode actually are scenes where it's just Brent Spiner in the scene. Like his three characters are the only three people in the scene. And I mean, that had to be a pain just for the amount of time it would take to shoot all of his coverage in three different makeups, three different costumes. But, you know, I mean, compared to that,
I mean,
you know,
yeah,
this is
you
a
would have
walk in
to
the
shoot the
park.
scene 3 times, but I mean, you know, you just shoot another scene while he's getting his makeup and costume changed.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not like everybody was just sitting around waiting for, you
Twiddling
know,
their thumbs.
I'm sure, and yeah, yeah, exactly. They would, yeah. I'm not sure exactly what the shooting schedule was on that, but, you know,
255 AD has a question for you.
do you buy a guy who looks like that could be a world class ball player? Oh, Buck Bokai. Yes, absolutely. You know, I mean, Norman Bookwell just mentioned Babe Ruth. Although Babe Ruth was, I mean, Babe Ruth was a big, strong guy. I think people
You
like,
could tell that he was muscled.
yeah,
The actor they have playing Buck Bokai looks generally soft.
yeah, but you know, the person I think of when I look at Buck Bokai in terms of his physique is Tony Gwynn. And I mean, Tony Gwynn was probably, I mean, Tony Gwynn was actually an athlete, and I'm sure he was in much better shape than the actor playing Buck Bokai, but still, like that general physique is not.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's hard to believe that he would be a ball player. No, um, you know, and plus we don't know what baseball was like in the mid. Well, I guess it's the mid 21st century. We're actually getting there now ourselves, but you
Guess
know,
we'll find out.
in the 2030s and 40s when Buck Bokai supposedly was playing, you know, maybe the game has changed to the point where that's the standard physique. You know, the big muscle bound, you know, like Hulk ball players are no longer the norm, and it's more average sized players. Um, yeah, but yeah, I mean, people, you know, I think the popular image of Babe Ruth comes from film that was shot during the later years of his career. If you look at Babe Ruth from the late teens and the 20s, that dude is like built like a brick shithouse. I mean, he is not. I mean, he's a big, strong dude who would. Yeah, I mean, a guy who. No wonder he was hitting so many home runs. He was a fucking beast. You know, he didn't get the belly and the skinny little legs and the skinny arms until later in his career. And even then he was still jerking him out of the park. So you know what? Yeah, Babe Ruth.
255 AD asks me, considering he didn't create it on purpose, is it unreasonable to be mad at him for this? I'd say it's unreasonable to be mad at him either way. I mean, unless, I mean, you're depending on who you're talking about. I mean, for me, I'm not mad at him. I think it's trashy.
Right.
Whether if he had done it on purpose, I think that there's some ethical issues there. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure it goes against some kind of protocol that's like, don't do this. But I mean, yeah, it's skeevy. It's skeevy.
I mean, I think the problem with Julian is how he acts, not how he feels. I mean, if he has a crush on Dax or he fantasizes about her or whatever, like you can't necessarily blame him for that. It's the fact that he's such a creep to her in person. Like,
Well,
she makes it clear that she's not really into him that way, and he doesn't let it go. Like that's.
He fantasizes about a version of her that is into him and behaves differently than she does.
That doesn't necessarily speak.
It
doesn't speak well for him. That's his.
She'd like me if she was just different. No, dude, maybe she'd like you if you were different. Maybe.
Oh man, that should have been that would be, if we're going to rewrite the episode, instead of an alternate Dax that is super into Julian, he imagines an alternate version of himself that the real Dax is super into, and he has to stand over there and be like, "Oh God."
Yes, and I find you're so much more compelling than I remember. And then he's like, what do you mean?
Is
She's
he
like,
really
well,
so different from me?
and and that would make it more funny because she'd be like, well, yes.
He's like, yeah, no, believe me, Julian, there's a big difference.
Yeah. And just leave it at that. Just leave it.
Pierre Marcuse knows how to get on my good side with the Field of Dreams quote. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Yeah.
What
Let's get back to
law
the episode,
is there
okay?
to say I got to like you? Okay, so let's get back into it. So I'll count us in from 3. We'll keep watching the episode. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, play.
So I can't help wondering if these are like conscious or subconscious thoughts.
Yeah, they never really. They just say imagination. They never really.
I think these have to be conscious thoughts because they're way too they're way too sensible to be subconscious thoughts.
Well, and it seems like Rumpelstiltskin. I mean, he was literally just reading her the story, so
yeah.
you know.
Thank you, Snake Big Cat. Yeah. Tired of his crap. I'm annoyed by you.
By the way, Rumpelstiltskin's reading of that locusts bit is really great because he takes a line that on the page is nothing and makes it funny. Till I saved his crop from locusts. Ooh, pretty. That's what she said. I'm sorry, I had to.
No, you didn't. You chose to.
And you know what else? I'm not sorry.
Mm-hmm. I take offense at that.
Hey, what do you mean? I'm a switch hitter. What with World War III and all?
Details.
Then those damn Vulcans showed up and that was it.
Oh.
Because of COVID. Oh, Norman Buckwell. Jake wasn't cheering. Okay, you're not Yogi Berra. You're Buck Bokai. Just let it play through this one.
All right.
Yeah, Buck Bokai is the boss. Mo is their leader. Well, you don't want that.
Can't have that.
No. And swallowed the universe. Plus, you know, Vulcans. Ah! Right there with you, Julian.
See, they're being nice to Julian.
Yeah. I don't think that's funny at all, Chief.
Do you have a capacitor?
There is actually such a thing in Star Trek as a flux capacitor. I'm pretty sure they made it up as a tribute to Back to the Future.
Aw.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Now I'm looking at the glasses. They are kind of pretty. I like that we have some of those, the heavy bottom glasses. They're nice. Just, although I don't think they're as fancy as that. They're just smooth, round classics.
Boy, somebody just loves birds. Whose imagination is creating these birds? Oh God, it's a Freddy Krueger movie.
Man,
Oh, it was just my.
there should be somebody showing up right.
It was just my recurring Burning Man running down the hallway fantasy.
My imagination is that you're not here.
Exactly. I think we see what's going on in Odo's imagination pretty soon here.
It's quiet.
Odo is skeptical of this whole
250
imagination
that makes
thing.
sense.
Oh. You've heard of the French nation and the British nation. Well, this is the imagination. But you're not doing homework. Boy, Buck Bokai, you are a bad influence. My holographic dog ate it. He needs to make friends with Wesley so we can just copy Wesley's homework. Fucking nerd.
I mean, coming from you, that's saying something.
That's not a how soon. That's a what. Come on. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Just let it play.
Okay.
Just let it play, everybody.
Dun dun dun.
Well, I've had about enough of this.
I didn't like it.
Well, because the real people imagining the imagined stuff are going to die. So, yeah.
Good pizza?
Delicious.
Yay! Beep, beep.
The first thing they tried didn't work. I don't believe it.
Well, I mean, we still got almost 10 minutes left in the episode. Clearly.
Can somebody answer the phone up there, for Christ's sake? Shut up. Can't he just imagine her better? Believe me, you didn't bother me. Dax 2, no.
Wait. Oh.
Pay attention. Pay attention. We had multiple.
What?
That has a ring to it. That's true, Pierre. MacGyver would have fixed all of this like half an hour ago. Yeah, this is no more difficult than spinning straw into gold.
And you know what that last card's going to be. I don't know. No. No.
It's the old drop the shields gambit. It always works. We've done it. We've killed our imaginations. No using your imaginations. That's an order. Huh. Get these civilians off my bridge.
Norm, good. Just the facts, Dax.
So, Cisco imagined a famous baseball player. Bashir imagined a sexual fantasy. O'Brien imagined a fairy tale character. And Dax imagined a threat that almost killed them all.
Did they?
Yeah.
Who imagined the baseball player?
Ben.
Did he?
Yeah.
Or did Jake?
Well, that's true. Maybe it was Jake.
Or did O'Brien... See, he's still there.
Well, that's not an episode. See if you killed yourselves.
Yeah, Norman, that makes sense.
Yeah, Molly created Rumpelstiltskin. And he's fired.
CLO 626. We are at like under 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, we're almost done at this point. Viticus, who created the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man on the promenade?
Ray?
If someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes!
Yes!
And that's it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So that's a fun episode.
Yeah, it's nice.
I really do think it would be a great bit for maybe like for lower decks, to have like a ship where they're facing some crisis and the captain or the engineer or somebody becomes convinced that the solution to the threat is to lower the shields, and then they do, and the ship is destroyed because it turns out that was the wrong thing to do. Because like every time on a Star Trek show, there's a TNG episode like that as well, where they're like, but there's this thing that's bombarding the ship and you're going to destroy us, and they're dropping, and Data's like, ooh, just lower the shields. What? That's suicide, Data. Just do it. And he does it, and it works. Ooh.
Because he's Data.
Because yeah,
Data relies on data.
Data. There's a great. Have you seen the meme where it's Data and his evil twin Lore, and the meme, it says, remember, always trust Data, not Lore.
Clever.
Yeah.
Which I think is part of the point.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It's what's the opposite of Data? There you go.
Yeah, and somebody, Norm says the baseball's left behind, and CL66 says, I think that was Cisco's baseball to begin with.
Yeah.
I made the face because he like turned around and walked away, and then he disappeared. I'm like, okay, so I mean, the walking away bit was completely pointless. Let's be clear on that.
Yeah, he could have just vanished.
He was going to vanish anyway.
He did the Field of Dreams walk into the cornfield bit. Except there's not a cornfield, so he just walks right into the wall.
But he disappears.
But he disappears. Yeah, exactly.
Whoosh. 255 AD asks, do you think it's possible for intelligent species not to have an imagination? Depends on how you define intelligence, really. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
And also it depends on how you define imagination. I mean, like, I feel like for what we define as if we define intelligence as like ourselves, I feel like some capacity for abstract thought almost seems a necessity.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's not used for more fanciful, like imaginative things.
And we saw
I mean,
different types of imaginings. That
Yeah.
they were, story, fantasy, hypothetical situation based on things that had actually happened, an apparent recurring memory, maybe for Kira. I'm not
for Kira,
sure.
yeah.
So, Dr. Ness, I question that. I definitely question whether any human being lacks an imagination.
Yeah.
Barring severe mental trauma.
Well, I think he just means they don't have a very good imagination.
Or they don't, they choose not to utilize it.
Yeah, because I mean, the ability to, to anticipate things or to make predictions or to, I mean, like the capacity to think about things that aren't really here, to picture things, as they might be. Well, yeah, sure, I guess in a way. Well, yeah, that's another thing. Like in math and science, I mean, you have to have some imagination. You don't, I mean, it doesn't stop there. You need to prove it. But the idea of, oh, I wonder if I tried this, I wonder if that would happen, and then you test it. You know what I mean? Like
the idea of addition. I mean, that's a concept.
Yeah.
Like you can use objects to represent it, but it's a concept.
It's a figurative. Yeah.
And 255 AD, yes, I said that seemed like a good parallel, a good crossover.
Oh yeah, the Harry Potter thing, yeah.
Yes, Caitlin. There's different kinds of imagination, like the imagination of an object, like visualization is different from fully abstract thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, and CLO 636, Kira's, intrusive traumatic flashback, possibly.
Yeah. Well, I think you made a good point there about, the manifestations in the episode are from different forms of imagination, which I think is I'm sure that was done on purpose, but it's a really interesting, thing to notice that, it's like Jake with Buck Bokai. I mean, he was literally playing with that holodeck program, and basically the holodeck character of Buck Bokai just became a real person.
Yeah.
So he was actually actively using his imagination in a way. He was doing something creative and something sort of,
but I mean, like but
living out a fantasy.
Yeah, but at the same time, because the holodeck program, produced this, he wasn't being, you could argue that he wasn't being imaginative. He was just being, he was just responding to what he was actually perceiving.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But
yeah, fun episode.
Yeah, interesting.
Fun episode, yeah. And like I say, I could easily imagine that being a Next Generation episode, or even a classic Trek episode with just a few little tweaks, Although again, that would beggar belief even more for making it like fit for network television in terms of the censors. Because like you're telling me Captain Kirk's fantasy would be like rated TV PG? I don't think so.
Or Quarks, let's be honest.
Well, Quarks, that's true. On Deep Space Nine, it's like, Quarks, those ladies would not have had clothes on.
Why? 255 AD, I think it's, just that inclusion at all was I noticed it and I was like, oh, okay, wasn't expecting that, from, mid 90s television.
Yeah, I don't think non-binary was in popular use back then.
Yeah,
I never heard that term. I mean, I'm sure there were some people using it, but like, remembering back to, I mean, this was 1993. So, I mean, the idea of gender neutral people even existing, I mean, of course they did exist, but like in popular culture, that just was not something that was widely thought about. So yeah, and androgynous is not really the right term there, but yeah, just the fact that it was even acknowledged is,
not nothing.
Exactly.
Well, who's
yeah.
we haven't had some random geek.
That's right. Yeah,
We've been missing our producer. But since
Where has he
we
gone?
seem to be coming to a pause, I mean, you want to do the spiel?
The spiel, the end of show spiel.
I guess,
Sure.
check the description for the charity links.
Absolutely. The charitylinks.page, which our absent friend, Some Random Geek, puts together, that are some fundraisers and PayPal links and bail funds and stuff for folks who, need a helping hand. So if you have a few extra bucks at the beginning of the month or left over from the end of the month and you want to put them to a good cause, click on the charity links link in the description and go to that Google Doc that Some Random Geek puts together for us and help out some of our friends. Maybe we would really appreciate that. And also, don't forget that the lovely and talented Dana Cole here has her own YouTube channel.
I do. I have a YouTube channel. There are videos on it. Subscriptions are lovely if you want to be informed about more videos. But comments are like platinum.
Nice.
Look, I made a Star Trek
You're
reference.
going for the Star Trek audience there.
I'm nerding out here, Steve.
Oh.
And I have a video that you have edited for me. Thank you so very much. Going up tomorrow. I'm this close, you guys. This close to being done with. Actually, here, how close am I? I am. Whoop. Sorry. Oh crap. I am this close. Can you even see? You can't even tell.
No, you're so close. You have like what, 4 chapters left?
Being done with freaking Pride and Prejudice. It's not even a full 5 chapters. There's only 4 more, and then I'm done. I'm done with that thing.
Yeah.
And so that goes up tomorrow. So I am so close. It's the next to last episode for that. And then after that, I will be taking a break from a read along through. So, oh gosh.
Well, this has been grueling. I've been with you every step of the way with this.
I know.
This has been very grueling for you. So yeah, Dana's YouTube channel is linked in the description as well. YouTube.com/Dana Coldares. Check out her videos. Subscribe. Please leave comments. And Dana and I will be back together on Friday to talk about chapter 3 of the book that we are currently working our way through for Readaway, which is The Other Westmore. And it is. There it is.
The books, they're right here. Not all of them, mind you, but just, some of them.
The ones, yeah, certain ones. But so we're going to do that on Friday, and next Wednesday is I don't want to spoil it, but next Wednesday is a video that I was working on today that Dana will have a little cameo. Yeah, that'll be next Wednesday.
That was going to be great.
I don't want to spoil it, but I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything.
But yeah, it'll be. I think it'll be good. Like I said, I shot the video portion of it earlier, and I was working on the audio, and I'm pleased with how it's coming together. So that'll be on Wednesday, and then a week from Friday will be another Ask Away, and there's also, don't forget the podcasts. There's I'm on Late Seating with Jason Harding, and we're both on the Ensign's Log with Jason. So you can listen if you, for some reason, if you've watched this show and you're like, I want more Steve and Dana. The Ensign's Log, buddy. There you go.
Yeah. Steve's even more of an asshole there.
I'm playing a character, Dana.
I was talking about Ensign Johnson.
Ensign Johnson, exactly. Boy, he.
What an asshole!
I think we were talking.
But
we were talking about that when we were recording over the weekend. Somebody left a comment. It was like, "Boy, Steve was a real asshole in this episode." Like, we need to be careful
that's kind of the gig.
Need to be careful that we don't push him into unlikability.
I have to admit, I think he does get some comeuppance in the upcoming episode. He pays for it.
Yes, yes, I would say.
I think he suffers more than Miles.
There is some suffering in the next episode. There is some suffering in the next episode for sure.
And it's great. Oh, it's delightful.
It was so much fun to do too.
So Tiffany Javadi asked, why no pizza? Honestly, it's because I'm on summer break, and I had a late lunch because today is my dad's 80th birthday.
Woo, happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah, so we went out and we had lunch with my parents. And that was late, and then I came home and I had a nap. So it's my body is not really like, I've been snacking on like little crackers and the last of the salsa. So that's kind of, there's like bread like substance and a tomato like substance. So I've been sort of going with the pizza theme, but it's not actually dinner time yet. So I don't know, but I don't know if I'll end up having pizza for dinner or not. I might end up just, I think I start yawning. Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
I might just end up going back to bed. I don't know.
Hey, you know what?
know.
It's summer vacation, baby. You can do whatever you want.
I can do whatever I want.
I mean, not whatever
Almost.
you want.
I mean, we still do live in a capitalist society.
Within certain limitations.
Nixon, now that I've read it, will I torture my students with Pride and Prejudice? Probably not, given that I don't teach British Lit. And I have had, for my honors class, in addition to the works that we read as a class, I give them a number of links to lists that are, top 15 books or top 30 books that every high school student should read, blah, 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 blah. And then it's not just a list of titles. It also gives usually like a 1 or 2 sentence synopsis and what makes the book such a classic. And so I say, read over as many of these articles as you like and pick 5 that you're interested in reading. And then I talk with them about their choices. And they have one that, they get to choose to read on their own. So everybody's reading something different. And a few of them over the couple of years that I've done this have chosen Pride and Prejudice. So they've done it for that. I have taught senior English is British Lit. And I have taught that a couple of times, but typically like our textbook goes chronologically. And by the time we get to that period, there's not enough time left for an entire novel. And the other thing is, I am not sure how that would, is it romantic? I'm never sure whether I get it mixed up, but romanticism and realism. But usually, if we're going to read a novel, it's Frankenstein.
Ooh,
so yeah, exactly. Between Frankenstein, Pride and Prejudice, Frankenstein, yeah.
Frankenstein.
Easy. Heck yeah. And there's just, I don't know. I guess I do. I'm biased towards speculative fiction. I think that, there's a lot more opportunity there. Plus, I just, getting my dudes, my male students invested in Pride and Prejudice would be a much more challenging task than getting them interested in Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they're both challenging books, with long, rambly sentences, or pre-Hemingway. So probably M. Loudon 03, probably because you read Beowulf for a whole semester and they spent that's something that when I taught British Lit that I tried really hard to do was like say, okay, like I looked at the whole thing. I'm like, one of the things I really wanted to do is look at the way that 2 things. One was the way that history and art influence each other, like real life and art influence each other, so that you could see the effects of what was going on in the world in literature, as well as the way that literature and the discussion that's going on in literature and the arts influences society as a future, and also the ways that different eras tend to be a response to the era that preceded them and have an influence on the era that came after them, that sort of interplay. So I structured it. And I was like, this is the amount. I mean, Beowulf is getting like 2 weeks because we have semester long courses. I was like, this is the amount of time Beowulf is getting. And so I had to really pare it down. And, so that I could keep on pace with this is what I want to do. Otherwise, there's so much to get into with Beowulf. And you can spend, easily, you can spend an entire course just on Beowulf. No problems whatsoever. But I knew that was not what I wanted to do with, an overview of British literature. It's not Beowulf. If you spend a whole term on Beowulf, that's not British literature, or that's not what, I don't, yeah.
Seal 0626 said we had to chew our way through Wuthering Heights, and my God, that was dense and unrewarding. I read Wuthering Heights once, and I read it on my own. I didn't read it like in school or anything. I read it just, to read it. I remember actually liking it, but I don't remember anything about it. Like that, it was like 15 years ago or something when I read it. And I remember when I finished it, I thought that was good. Remember absolutely nothing about it. I couldn't tell you.
You don't even remember why you liked it.
No, really don't. I'm like, I think there's a guy named Heathcliff in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember, I have no recall of it whatsoever. So
Yeah. Da, 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 da. There was a question. I'm scrolling. Torture students. No, I will not torture students with Pride and Prejudice. And how much can you get of a book you're being made to read? Well, I mean, given that I'm forcing myself to read Pride and Prejudice, I would say a fair amount, you know, I'm certainly getting plenty of videos out of it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But also there's some it's different. There is value to students choosing their own works, and they're essentially, ideally, there will be next year, if we get to be back in person, there will be 3 types of readings. Things that we read as a group where everybody reads it, things that we read in small groups where each group reads something different, and things that students read independently and individually. And each one brings a different experience. With the independent reading, it's complete choice based. So, I mean, you have, you know, within a framework. I mean, you know, if you're pulling up Fox and Socks, then no, that's not developmentally appropriate. That's not an appropriate challenge for you. But you know, if you have something that's, you know, an appropriate level of challenge for you, go for it. So that having that choice is important. But you're doing it on your own. You don't have that cohesion. You don't get to do this where, you know, you talk with each other about, because each person's bringing their own experiences to the experience of reading, to the text. And so that makes the experience of reading the text different. And so in a small group, you can discuss that. And then in full group, you have the benefit of having the instructor who, you know, has an idea of some of the problems that you may have with the text, some of the difficulties and challenges, and can sort of help to scaffold some of that and provide support, saying, okay, you know, here are some of the, you know, here's some things to think about as you go through this. You know, what did you notice? And can guide you in a way that you don't get when you're reading independently or in a small group. So a lot of it depends on how much you're willing to give and, you know, the quality of the instruction you're being provided with. And there's 255 AD, there's a difference between appreciating something and enjoying it. I mean, very much so.
Big time, yeah.
I appreciate Hemingway and the contributions that he's made to literature. Thank you so much. You know, the nice, concise, short sentences that are, you know, currently in, you know, and the variety, sentence variety. I think we've come, you know, it's not just the short sentences, it's sentence variety. Right. But man, some of the sentences in Pride and Prejudice, I was like, wait, what? If I'm not
let me go back to the beginning here. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm not already in the right headspace, I mean, if I'm in the right headspace, I can just go and it's fine. But sometimes I'm just like, oh God, I just need to get through this.
Yeah,
and
like,
then
what are you even talking about?
I have to go back through. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have never taught War of the Worlds, and 255 AD, I don't know, but I do provide links when and where I can. You know, it's the same text, whether you're looking at it or listening to it. It's the same words and the same understanding. I encourage students, especially students who have who are easily distracted, to listen to it as they read. Because sometimes that can actually help to block out things that would otherwise distract them. And just, you know, it can also help them focus on, you know, the text. But I also encourage them to find something that they can either speed up or slow down so that they're able to read at that speed that the, you know, the audio is going.
Yeah. Well, shall we call the festivities to a close?
I think so. Do you have wrestling tonight?
I do not, actually. Wrestling's
on.
It's on Friday again this week. I think it's being preempted for the last couple of weeks because of I think it might be basketball, but
boo.
I know, but it's okay. I don't mind watching it on Friday.
Oh gosh, yeah, and I need to make sure I look at the big darn movie.
That's right, because next week
is the first half of it.
Is the first half of yeah. So that's one thing we didn't mention. We were talking about what's coming up next week. We are back to Firefly because we're going to watch the first half of the movie Serenity, and then we will be back to Deep Space Nine, and then we'll be back to finish Serenity, and then that'll be it for Firefly. And I'll have to make a new thumbnail for this series because we won't be watching Firefly every other week anymore. And yeah, Richard Moore is next. Is the next? I didn't look at the next Deep Space Nine. Is the next Deep Space Nine the first Loxana Troy episode of Deep Space Nine? I think it might be my favorite character.
Oh, we're gonna. Oh, wait.
Could-
So I'll get to meet her.
Yeah, that's right. You will. Because she's because of course we deal with her in the next episode of the Ensign.
The one we've
the one we just
we've already
recorded.
it.
The one we
I
just
know
recorded.
about
Yeah.
her, and I think I've seen an episode or I'm aware of the character.
Like TNG. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the worst, and I hate her. Although there are a couple of the Loxana episodes on TNG that are okay episodes that are.
So yeah, that'll definitely because I think I'm with you on the whole, but it's definitely I think that's one of our conversation videos which we haven't done in like forever.
Which we can get back into hopefully now since you're
that would be great.
a little bit more
Among
time.
other things that I am going to do this summer.
Yeah.
Oh god. The strong female character and how we want to include her on that list, and how she fits in as
Yes.
an attempt to have a strong female character.
What to do and what not to do.
Mhm.
Corey, yes, I did see Double or Nothing. I thought it was, for the most part, I thought it was great. So there you go. Nice quick thoughts. I thought it was a really good show. All right. Shall we?
I guess that's it.
Bring down the curtain. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for watching Deep Space Nine with us. We'll see you next week for the first half of Serenity. And we'll see you Friday for Read Away.
Hi everybody. Thanks so much.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you later.